You want to get rich without anyone noticing, and you're right to seek wealth in the shadows. The biggest mistake weak men make is believing that success must be displayed, that progress must be announced, that money must be shown. But the moment you reveal your rise, you invite the world to sabotage it. Machiavelli understood something most people ignore. The greatest advantage you can ever possess is invisibility. Not invisibility of presence, but invisibility of intention. When people cannot read you, they cannot predict you. When they cannot predict you, they cannot stop you. The truth is simple and cruel. Most people around you don't want you to win. Not because you're unworthy, but because your success forces them to confront their own failures. Every step you take forward reminds them of every step they never took. Every small victory you achieve shines a light on the years they wasted. Humans can't stand mirrors, especially mirrors that expose their weakness. So if you want to build wealth, real wealth, lasting wealth, you must build it silently. You must become the type of person who moves like smoke, present but impossible to grasp. Riches gained loudly are riches that vanish quickly. Riches gained quietly are riches that endure. Machiavelli observed that visibility creates enemies. Silence creates opportunity. If nobody knows what you are building, nobody knows where to attack. If nobody understands your strategy, nobody can interfere with it. Look at the powerful throughout history. They never revealed their long-term plans. They revealed results only when those results were impossible to reverse. That is your model. Let them see the final form, never the process. The first psychological law you must embrace is this: humans are driven by comparison, and comparison breeds envy. Even those who care about you can start rooting against you without admitting it. They may smile, congratulate you, speak encouraging words, but inside something cracks. They begin questioning why you are rising and why they aren't. They feel threatened, even if your success doesn't touch them. Envy grows quietly like a poison, and it doesn't need dramatic actions to destroy you. Sometimes all it takes is a careless comment said to the wrong person, a subtle piece of advice that pushes you off track, a small seed of doubt planted in your mind. The destruction never looks deliberate, but it is. This is why the path to wealth must be hidden. You cannot tell people what you are building. You cannot explain what you're learning, what you're planning, what you're investing in, what you're risking. Every detail you reveal becomes a weapon someone can use against you. Not always out of malice, sometimes out of insecurity, sometimes out of fear, sometimes out of the unconscious desire to keep you at the same level as them. Mediocrity hates motion. Mediocrity hates ambition. Mediocrity hates anyone who dares to escape. The world would rather keep you predictable, harmless, contained. But wealth requires you to be none of those things. You must understand another law. People only respect power they cannot access. If they can see it, touch it, comment on it, they feel entitled to judge it. That judgment becomes pressure. That pressure becomes doubt. And doubt is the enemy of execution. The moment you let the world enter your decision-making process, you lose the purity of your ambition. Your goals stop being your goals. They become diluted by the fears and insecurities of others. Machiavelli warned against taking counsel from the masses because they cannot see beyond their limitations. If you follow their advice, you inherit their limitations. So you must build in private. You must learn in private. You must fail in private, and you must rise in private. The richness of your future depends on your ability to be silent during the transformation. Silence is not weakness. Silence is strategy. Silence is protection. Silence is psychological warfare. Imagine working every day, growing every day, improving every day, and nobody knows. Imagine how strong you become when the world cannot measure your progress, cannot predict your next move, cannot prepare for your success. That is how kings rise. That is how empires are built. To get rich without anyone noticing, you must adopt a double life. Outwardly, you remain the same. Calm, humble, modest, predictable. Inwardly, you are ruthless, obsessive, disciplined, and hungry. You create no waves on the surface, but underneath, You move like a current capable of reshaping entire landscapes. Most people destroy themselves because they want to be seen as winners before they actually win. They want applause before they deserve it. They want validation without sacrifice. They want the world to admire their journey, not realizing that exposure kills potential. You don't need applause, you need anonymity. The applause will come later, when it no longer matters. Your lifestyle will remain simple. Your appearance will remain modest. You will not fall into the trap of performing wealth. You won't buy status symbols. You won't flex. You won't announce milestones. You won't live to impress. Because the moment you display wealth, you start living for others. And that is the fastest way to lose everything. You are not building a life for spectators. You are building a life for survival, power, and freedom. This path will feel lonely, but loneliness is not an enemy. It is a forge. Solitude sharpens your focus. Solitude amplifies your clarity. Solitude allows you to move differently, think differently, grow differently. The masses drown in noise, you rise in silence. The masses drown in opinion, you rise in discipline. The masses drown in comfort, you rise in strategy. You must also learn the art of controlled invisibility. Not isolation, invisibility. You still appear social, you still laugh, you still participate, but they never know what's really happening behind your eyes. They never see the calculations. They never feel the ambition. They never sense the fire. They only see what you allow them to see. Your mind becomes a kingdom with locked gates. Only you hold the key. This is how you get rich without anyone noticing. By mastering the psychology of secrecy, by embracing the philosophy of silence, by understanding human nature better than it understands itself. Everything you do becomes intentional. Everything you hide becomes protection. Everything you reveal becomes strategy. You will see the world differently from now on. The people who try to discourage you reveal their envy. The people who tell you to slow down reveal their fear. The people who ask too many questions reveal their insecurity. And the people who pretend not to care reveal their weakness. You cannot take them with you. Wealth requires sacrifice. The biggest sacrifice is letting go of the need to explain yourself. The day will come when you reveal your success. Not because you want to, but because it's impossible to hide anymore. When that day arrives, it will look sudden to everyone else. They will say you got lucky. They will say it happened overnight. They will invent stories to justify your rise. They will try to rewrite your journey because they never saw the work. But you will know the truth. You built your empire in silence while they were too busy talking. This is how Machiavelli would teach you to rise. Quietly, strategically, invisibly. Let them sleep on you. Let them underestimate you. Let them forget you. Because the less they see, the more dangerous you become. You already understand why silence protects you, but now you must understand how to use that silence to build real wealth, the kind that rewrites your destiny. Most people believe money is earned through effort alone, but that is naive. Money is earned through position, timing, leverage, and psychology. The rich don't win because they work harder. They win because they think differently, they move differently, they react differently, and most importantly, they hide their intentions until the final strike. Machiavelli would tell you that the strongest man in the room is not the one who shouts, but the one whose silence suffocates everyone else. You must learn the art of controlled ambition. Outwardly, you remain calm, composed, predictable. Inwardly, you are calculating, adapting, scheming. Building your inner world becomes a laboratory where your future self is engineered piece by piece. But the world never sees the experiments. They only see the results once the results are undeniable. That's how you protect your rise from jealous eyes. That's how you prevent sabotage. That's how you keep control. You get rich by quietly mastering skills that ordinary people ignore. Skills that let you multiply money instead of trading time for it. Skills that transform your mind into a weapon. Skills that allow you to navigate opportunities without hesitation or fear. But you never broadcast your growth. You don't brag about learning. You don't show off your discipline. You don't announce your evolution. When people don't know what you're capable of, they can't anticipate your victories. This is the psychological advantage of invisibility. Nobody prepares against a threat they cannot understand. You rise beneath their radar. You build while they sleep. You evolve while they stagnate. And by the time they recognize your transformation, the distance between you and them has become impossible to close. But there is another step, a deeper one, the part most people never master. To get rich unnoticed, you must learn to detach emotionally from the world around you. People will try to pull you into their drama. They will try to distract you with their problems. They will try to steal your time, your energy, your attention, not necessarily because they want to harm you, but because they want company in their misery. You cannot afford this. Emotional involvement is where many powerful men lose everything. You must remain warm enough not to raise suspicion, but cold enough not to be consumed by the chaos of others. Master emotional distance. It is one of the rarest and most profitable skills you will ever acquire. You must also learn to become unpredictable. Predictability is vulnerability. If people can guess your next move, they can block it. If they can anticipate your progress, they can sabotage it. You don't tell them when you're learning something new. You don't tell them when you're working on a project. You don't tell them when you're investing, saving, or building something. Your life becomes a quiet storm, invisible on the surface, raging beneath. This makes you powerful because humans fear what they cannot read. They don't know what drives you. They don't know what motivates you. They don't know your intentions. And the less they know, the safer you are. Confusion becomes your shield. Wealth requires decisions most people will never understand. If you explain your decisions, people will project their limits onto you. They will infect your mind with caution, fear, and doubt. They will make you hesitate, and hesitation is death. A man who hesitates becomes ordinary. A man who moves decisively becomes powerful. You must learn to decide alone. You must learn to trust your own mind. You must learn to act without needing validation. When you stop seeking permission, you begin building an empire. Here is a truth most men never accept. The people closest to you will not support your rise once it surpasses what they believe you deserve. They know your past. They know your weaknesses. They know your failures. And they cannot imagine a world where you rise above them. They will minimize your progress. They will exaggerate your flaws. They will downplay your achievements. They will make you feel small just to keep you within reach. This is why your wealth must grow in silence. They cannot destroy a tower they do not know exists. To get rich without attention, you must detach from the addiction to approval. Approval is a drug. It makes you dependent on others. It makes you vulnerable. It makes you predictable. The moment you stop caring about what they think of you is the moment your real ascent begins. The silent man terrifies the world because he cannot be influenced. He cannot be manipulated. He cannot be controlled. But silence alone is not enough. You must also build the kind of discipline that ordinary men fear. Discipline is not motivation. Discipline is not inspiration. Discipline is the ability to do what must be done, especially when you don't feel like doing it. You wake up when you said you would. You work when you said you would. You study when you said you would. You move when you said you would. And here's the key. Not a single person needs to know you're doing it. The most powerful discipline is the one performed in total darkness, because when nobody is watching, the only validation is your transformation. And transformation done in silence is transformation that lasts. You become a different man without announcing it. Your habits change. Your thoughts sharpen. Your emotions stabilize. Your focus intensifies, and yet nobody sees the evolution. They still think you're the same. They still underestimate you. They still assume you're not a threat. Let them. Their blindness is your advantage. Understand money as a psychological game. The masses chase quick wins, shiny objects, shortcuts. They want to look rich instead of becoming rich. They sacrifice their future for temporary appearances. Their pride is their downfall. Your power is that you don't need to be seen. You don't need to impress. You don't need external confirmation. You build for yourself, your freedom, your family, your future, not for applause. The key to getting rich unnoticed is simple but demanding. Your lifestyle must remain boring while your mind becomes extraordinary. Ordinary men chase luxury. Powerful men chase leverage. Ordinary men flex what they buy. Powerful men flex what they build. Ordinary men seek attention. Powerful men seek control. That is the Machiavellian difference. You stop trying to live like you're rich before you actually are. You learn to live below your means. You learn to stay low while you accumulate. You learn to hide your ambition behind humility. A quiet man who is building wealth is more dangerous than a loud man pretending to have it. Humility becomes your disguise. Simplicity becomes your armor. Discretion becomes your strategy. In a world obsessed with showing off, the man who hides becomes a mystery, and mystery is power. You must also learn the art of strategic patience. Most people destroy their wealth because they cannot wait. They demand results instantly. They sabotage their progress because they prefer comfort over growth. But invisible wealth grows slowly, silently, steadily. Every small improvement compounds. Every skill multiplies. Every piece of knowledge expands your advantage. While others chase noise, you chase mastery. While others seek entertainment, you seek elevation. While others want everything now, you want everything forever. Your journey will feel strange because you won't receive praise. You won't receive recognition. You won't receive encouragement. That silence will test you. But this is also what makes you strong. Without applause, you grow for yourself. Without validation, you evolve authentically. Without external motivation, you become unstoppable. You develop a spine that does not bend, a will that does not break, a focus that does not fade. You must also understand money moves toward men who can control their emotions. The loud man reacts, the silent man calculates. The emotional man loses opportunities, the calm man seizes them. When you stop reacting, you start winning. When you stop explaining, you start accumulating. When you stop seeking recognition, you start rising. The final stage is the quiet execution phase, the phase where your actions speak for you. You don't talk about your moves. You don't warn people about your rise. You don't announce your success. You let your transformation appear suddenly, shockingly, undeniably. People won't understand how you did it. They won't understand when it happened. They won't understand why you never said anything. They will call it luck. They will call it chance. They will call it destiny. But you will know it was strategy. This is how you get rich without anyone noticing. You outgrow the world in silence. You let your discipline whisper. You let your patience build. You let your ambition burn behind closed doors. And you let them believe whatever they want while you construct a life they could never imagine. And one day, when you finally reveal who you've become, it won't be a flex. It won't be revenge. It won't be a performance. It will simply be the truth. A truth you built alone. A truth nobody saw coming. A truth that cannot be undone. You rise quietly. You grow invisibly. You ascend silently. And then suddenly, you are untouchable. This is the Machiavellian strategy, the powerful use. Get rich in the shadows. Move like a ghost. Think like a king. Act like a weapon. And let the world discover your greatness only when it's too late for them to stop it.